My name's Halie. I am a nurse at Mercy Hospital, but working in surgery. I love traveling. That's why I'm probably here. Love traveling. Try to go to 1 or 2 places a year. So big believer in working in order to live and not living to work. So
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think anyone that knows you at all will know that you love to travel.
I just love seeing how big the world is.
Yeah.
The fact that, like when I grew up on a small farm and everything. We never traveled anywhere.
Mhm.
So my world was pretty much just Missouri.
Right.
And so when I started traveling overseas and got to see like some of the rich culture and architecture and America's pretty young. Go over to Europe or some of these places that have had thousands of years of history and you get to see like the architecture in these buildings that you only saw in movies or in like books and stuff like that, just right there. It's really kind of amazing.
Yeah, the U.S. is very young. It's like a baby.
Yeah.
Really. Now, group travel specific, can you list the places you've been off the top of your head with that?
With group travel, I did Egypt, Peru, Scandinavia, which includes Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, and then Japan. So
Nice.
I've done 4 group travel trips so far.
And your favorite, maybe?
Egypt was probably by far the best experience I've ever had.
Wow.
And it was my first group travel, so I don't know if that correlates with first time doing a group travel trip with the country itself or just how the company does their group travels.
Wow.
It was phenomenal. I will just give forever props to our tour guide there. He was amazing. Like, he
Wow.
was a local. He had degrees in knowledge in ancient Egyptian history and archaeology and stuff. So when we actually went to see hieroglyphs in these temples, he was able to give us the whole background stories. He could read the hieroglyphs, tell us like what the significance of all this stuff was. So seeing it meant that much more than like say my previous trips where I'd done it on my own. I went to like Italy. I can see everyone knows the Colosseum
Right.
and stuff like that, but you go to some of these other places and you're like, you vaguely know about it, but you don't really know what you're looking at. You just kind of go, well, that's cool,
Right.
and then you move on. The group travels, their main thing is they give you a guide, they give you a place to stay and a way to get there.
Right.
The one company that I did had a lot of excursions that you had to pay for once you got there, so they were add-ons.
Gotcha.
Some things were included, a lot of the really cool stuff wasn't. So you ended up having to pay a little bit extra to do all those things, but you could choose not to and have that free time to go and do whatever you wanted
Right.
in that area.
Ballpark,
Uh-huh.
one excursion to go do one thing for a few hours might cost through this company.
It ranges
Like,
between,
could be a couple hundred to.
the one was like a temple in Egypt specifically. We went to go see a temple. That one was a couple $100.
Right.
But then to do like say just like a kayaking in a fjord or whatever was like maybe $50 or $20.
Okay.
So it's like it depends on what the activity was.
Okay, so it's not crazy.
No. But then this other company I did for Japan, it was a little bit different in that everything that was on the itinerary was included. So
Oh.
I didn't have to pay for any extra excursions. Everything that they advertised was already included. You
Wow.
already paid for it, so you were already there and guaranteed to do all this stuff.
Nice.
I would say the downside to that is since you've already paid for it, if say you wanted to do something else,
You feel obligated.
you don't have that freedom to be like, well, I don't want to pay for this specific thing. I want to go do this
Yeah.
instead, kind of thing, or
Yeah.
I want time to chill and not do that specifically.
I see.
So when you go onto these group travel websites, you can look at the full itineraries and you can like pick and choose what it is you want to do, how many days you want, like in that, like they're already predetermined, but like you can figure out, okay, I want a trip that's in a week, and you can look at all these destinations and you can look at the itineraries, what's included, what's not, and the prices, and make your best determination, and then you just show up and you get thrown in with a group of people you never met before, or you can bring, I often bring my cousin along with me,
Okay.
or she brings me along, however that works. And so I know at least one person, but I've also done it solo where I didn't know anybody,
Wow.
and I still had a great time. So that's, because everybody's so like-minded. That's what I love about traveling, is everybody that does this loves to travel. So you're making like instant travel buddies, a bunch of different personalities. You find some that click, and then they're like your new best friend, and you just explore this place that neither of you've been to before.
So have you then actually created friendships that now you communicate afterwards and message and
Yeah.
talk to?
So yeah, my Peru trip, we met a couple people that were also. We talked about our future trips, and everyone. My cousin and I talked about wanting to go to Australia. Well, they wanted to go too, and so we kept in contact and actually went to Australia together.
Wow.
And I've had other people I've met that did other trips I was interested in, so I'd message them and be like, hey, was this worth it? What should I hit? What should I miss? Kind of thing. There's other people that, when I was in Australia on a previous trip, I met someone from Australia, and so when I was in town, I messaged them. We were able to catch up, or they even let me stay the night at their house.
Awesome.
They were just absolutely amazing. So that saved me a little money there. So you kind of just make friends all over the world.
So thinking back to your first one, and I think you said that was Egypt.
Yes.
What opened the door for you even to do that? What?
So I had been traveling still before then, just mostly doing European trips. We kind of had a goal that we want to hit every continent before we're 30. We didn't quite make it, but we wanted to hit every continent. And I wanted to do something in Africa. But I was a little unsure how to go about it because I was a little nervous to just do it, especially Egypt, because I love ancient Egyptian history.
Yeah.
I was like a little close to the Middle East. I wasn't sure how safe that would be with just me and my cousin going. So one of my coworkers that had traveled to our hospital, she was telling me about this company that she did when she was younger and absolutely loved. And so I started looking into it because I had never heard of or thought of group travel beforehand.
Yeah.
So looked it up, looked at Egypt, saw I had a 9-day trip for $1,400.
Whoa.
Like,
that's amazing.
That was incredibly affordable, I thought. And, when I thought of Egypt, I only just thought of pyramids in Cairo. I didn't really know what else they had to offer. This company took us to Luxor, Aswan, like different places that I'd never even thought of or knew about Egypt. If I had been planning it myself, I wouldn't have, thought to hit some of that.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. I liked that the company offered, a tour guide and kind of security and numbers, as well as security. When we were in Cairo, they required us to have a escort with us for a little bit, just for the added security, which was kind of nice.
And they provided that?
Yeah, that was all part of
That's
it.
fantastic.
So it literally takes all the stress of planning out of your head. Like, we just got to show up and enjoy.
Right.
And then you have all the photographers with you. People love helping you out with your photos and stuff. So that's great. So that's always really nice.
So when you get done, do you get to look at packages or of the photos taken, or do you?
Some do. So every kind of tour group does things differently. We had one group that we just started a Google Drive, and everybody uploaded photos of each other on the Google Drive so we could all share that. This other last one, they had something called Photo Circle that he said preserved your quality of your pictures better, so we all shared our stuff in that. And so you could pick and choose ones you were in, or maybe someone got a shot that you couldn't quite get that right angle, and they just got the money shot. And you're like, okay, I'm just taking that one now. That's
awesome.
Mine.
Oh, that's amazing.
So yeah, you have all your fellow photographers with you to help you out. And
did you ever find a specific moment that wasn't so pleasant or didn't go?
Yeah, I got a couple. Like with group travel, you are tied to the itinerary. If there's something that you wanted to spend more time at, you kind of have no choice because they're your ride, so you have to go along with it. So I mean, if you don't know what you want to do in this particular place and you want to go there, group travel, they kind of take the highlights, touristy stuff out of there. But if there's something specific that you want to do and experience, you might want to just plan it yourself.
Solo.
Kind of thing.
So it's kind of the issue of having a little less control, maybe, or like you said earlier, if there's a day where you're not feeling so good, and then you may or may not feel an obligation to do whatever was planned initially.
And that's happened too. Like I went to Peru, and we had some people that had altitude sickness, or they ate something that didn't agree with them, and so they missed out on some thing.
Did you know we have a Peruvian restaurant in
I
Spain?
have been there. The food was good. I was just at the lomo salado. I love the purple drink. chicho morado, like all that stuff.
Okay,
And I was
yeah.
like, yep, I had all that in Peru, and that was really cool to be like, oh, I can eat this
I just
here.
went for the first time last week,
Yeah.
and it was really good.
It's really good. I've eaten there a couple times, and it tasted pretty similar. They didn't have the alpaca or guinea pig, which is apparently a delicacy in Peru, which I was kind of thankful for that. I didn't eat guinea pig again. That was the one.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Like,
I would. Would it taste like chicken?
it does taste like chicken. But everyone else tells me, because I hadn't had duck
Oh.
before, so they all informed me that it tastes more like duck, because they thought, I guess, it was greasier. I thought it just tasted like chicken.
Wait, is the guinea pig thing on the menu here in town?
No.
Okay, I was like, wait a
No,
minute. Did
no,
I eat that?
No,
like I was
that's what
getting afraid.
That's what I was saying. I was like, thankfully, the alpaca and the guinea pig are not on the menu at
Yes,
Cabo
okay,
Cusco,
okay.
but that is a Peruvian thing that they do like their guinea pig.
I know they did have rabbit on the menu.
Yeah, well, rabbit's not as bad.
Not as bad. That does taste like chicken for sure. Have you ever been in a scenario where you were with the group travel going from A to B, but something broke down or didn't happen? And how did they handle it?
So Kentucky and Scandinavia, they did a good job. We had a destination that we were going to go to, and they told us that because of a conference that was going to be there, that suddenly our hotel reservations were not there anymore.
Wow.
Like we
Okay.
weren't going to have. So they got to talking to their bosses and everything, and we ended up adding an extra city that wasn't far away, and getting even nicer hotels than we were going to have in the first place. So an added city that wasn't even on the itinerary that ended up being super nice. Kind of wish we had another day to just explore that, but it was just meant for like a quick night before we went to the city that was originally planned to do the excursion. So we still got to do everything we wanted to. We just had to do a little detour to work around, and it worked out great.
Wow.
Yeah, so they worked really hard to make this. They know it's your vacation and you're spending your money on this, and so they try to give you the best experience that they can.
Yeah, considering they're giving you their experience and their insight, and really it doesn't seem like they're charging you all that much more for that part, and I think that sounds really fantastic.
Yeah. Like I said, I think they get a lot of discounts for doing group stuff. So
Yeah.
a lot of your excursions and stuff like that are going to be cheaper than if you try to book it yourself. You get excursions that might be a little more exclusive, like Kentucky especially. We got to do experiences that are specific to the region that you wouldn't see on your V8 or TripAdvisor or whatever as like an excursion to do. So that was kind of cool too.
Well, I had some misconceptions about group travel because I thought the parties or the group would always be large, and I thought they would always be expensive.
No, yeah, depending on the company you go with, they can be relatively affordable.
Yeah.
Because I would say, I don't know if I could have done everything I did much different on paying it for myself versus doing it with the thing. Now, I will preface that with some of these, in order to keep them cheap, like especially in Europe where it's a little more expensive, we do a lot of hostel stays.
Oh, okay.
So that's where, you're going to lose a lot of people who don't want to spend time in a bunk bed or kind of thing. So that is a deterrent for some. But like places like Egypt or like Peru, where the cost is a lot cheaper down there, we actually did stay in hotel rooms and stuff. And you usually just share with one other person. So if you're going by yourself, they bunk you with a random person.
Right.
And if you guys don't mesh, you can probably do some trading later on. You're not necessarily stuck with that person.
I didn't really know what the group sizes were even like. So the ranges that you've done have been from what to what typically?
36 was definitely the biggest, and I would say 16 is the smallest.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of these tour groups, it's hit or miss depending on the time of year and how many. So some of them will have a cutoff on how many people can come. So Intro Travel, which I did Japan with, they like smaller group sizes. So you're never going to get a group bigger than 16 people. So that was kind of nice. I think Egypt might have been a special case too, just because it is Egypt and a little harder maybe to get there, that they might condense their trips a little bit, so you had larger groups to kind of get as many people in part of it as they can.
So was Egypt your cheapest group travel as far as not getting there and back, I guess, but the actual...
I would say so. I got really lucky with my airline flight being only $600 round trip to Cairo. So that was probably the most affordable trip. I would say Peru wasn't too bad. I don't remember how much that trip total cost, but I don't think I paid more than $3,000 overall, because I think the flight was under $1,000, and then the trip itself was still around that realm of $1,500 to $2,000.
The companies that you mentioned, I could maybe, so you usually just access it as just a website, or do you make phone calls? It's all
They're
web-based?
all websites.
Okay.
So Kentucky is a specific website. Intro Travel we actually found through like a Google search. We were looking, and it took us through a tour radar, which has kind of uploads a bunch of tour group itineraries all at once, and then based on one you pick, it takes you to the website of the actual company it was going through. So it's kind of like a nice search engine where you can look at all, because there's a ton of them out there. You have G Adventures, Intrepid, you know, like all these things that, you know, you can pick from. Some more expensive than others. I would say Intro Travel is a little more affordable. But depending on the experience you want to have, the level of, you know, the amount of days, the cost and everything, like you find the right company for you kind of thing.
Well, I'll probably put the links to their websites in the description of the video, so that if anyone watches it, wants to go to those sites, they could check it out for themselves. At some point, you might need like a referral code and be like, tell them Halie sent you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love it if Kentucky would want to sponsor me or something.
Exactly.
But yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for meeting and having a little chat and sharing your vast knowledge on this. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.